And welcome back to Flexible Games and FortressCraft Evolved, Bleeding Edge. So I've done quite a bit of smelting in between episodes, just sort of feeding it ores. I've got 4 hoppers going in and then 1 hopper coming out, because it's a 4-to-1 ratio. So you fill all these up with 100 and you get 100 bars at the end. I also put a first level of induction on the furnace, or on the smelter. This forced induction doubles the speed, but, octuples the amount of power that it's using. So it's a kind of a trade-off. It does smelt pretty quick, but it demands a lot of power, but I'm not really worried about power right now. Our CPH is holding its own. It's keeping up pretty well. And we do have some supplemental power over here, but today's episode I want to see about 2 things. First, I want to see if we can power the iron mine that we've got going down there, and I want to see if we can start bringing in the tin and copper that we have over there up to our smelter. So I've dug a little line here to help with that. I've also cleared out a bunch of space. I've kind of flattened and leveled this area. Since we have so much coal over here, we have this deposit here, and this deposit, this big one back here. I'm probably going to put a big power gen bank back here, and the laboratory. So this will be like our laboratory sort of research area where I'll be crafting the research pods and all that kind of stuff, and as well as generating all the power, because that research laboratory takes a lot of power. So first things first, let's look at getting power down to the iron area. So the first thing we're going to want to do is get power down. So that's beaming power down. Now that should go 64 blocks, so let's see. Oh man, that one hurt. Okay, a little blurry vision. I'm okay, it's a minor concussion. Okay, so the power, let's see if I put a power block here, if it connects. It does. Fantastic. That's exactly 64 blocks that's transmitting to. So I put a battery over here, and I kind of dug a tunnel. So we want this one going this way. You can see where it's hitting, and then this one going this way. So this will start to charge the electric motor, which will in turn give us a lot of juicy iron ore. How much iron ore is left in this vein? Only 65,000. There is not much iron left in there. We're only going to get about 10% of that, which is not at all very much. So we're going to want to find some more iron very, very soon. Hopefully there's a big vein somewhere around here that we can tap into. Whee! Oh, I missed it. There we go. Alright, next on our list, let's grab the tin that's in there because we're going to be using it. So I'm not a big fan of the slow conveyor belts. They're easy to make, they're cheap, but they are really slow. So I try to do my best to get enough resources to go right into the regular conveyor belts. There are faster ones eventually, but we're going to go with the regulars. It's just a tin and a copper bar. Pretty straightforward. I'm going to craft 25 at a time using control. Crafting. And one more should do for now. I also have these upsloped conveyors, which are just your basic conveyor plus a little extra copper.
Crafting.
Not too bad. So I want these to come out. Little Mr. Robot. Okay, so those are coming out. And luckily these are right on a line, although there's not much ore left in any of these. Okay, so I want that to come up too. And a little trick is if you stand right on top, you should be able to just build like that. Now to get it going across, you just put one on top and continue the line. Oh, that one rotated. Now these are mining pretty slow for now. So I can merge these like this. And they will merge as it mines. We want to go under all of this because the conveyors would interfere with the power beam. So just like that. And then the end result, I'm going to have to swap over all of my smelting here. Because this is going to be the input and now this is going to be the output. So let's grab all the ore out of there. Grab all the ore out of there. It should finish this one up and then stop. And I want to set this to remove only and this one to add only. And I can rotate these around. And now, placing this, now it'll start smelting off of this line. And granted, there's really not much left over here. I mean, these will mine pretty fast. 45,000 there. I'm pretty sure it's similar over here. $125. So a little bit more tin than copper. But again, we have huge deposits further down that will be easy to mine. So you can see now that they're actually able to go back and forth. So it will smelt both types of bars. For now, since I only have one smelter, I kind of have to mix, but that's okay. For now, it'll just automate that, smelt me just hundreds of bars while I'm away doing other things, and I won't have to worry about it. I'll be able to come up and just grab a bunch of bars. I will want to automate the iron soon, as well as lithium. However, because of how deep they are, especially with lithium, you get a little thing that kind of upsets the conveyors. You get deep enough and the creatures will form on your conveyor lines and start sucking off the material off your conveyor lines. So it's rather bad that you do that, because remember the hive mind that we came across down by the iron? Well, that hive mind, if you feed it, if it's allowed to be fed ores, it will actually start growing. It will grow and increase its size. That hardened resin will spread, and the only way to get rid of that hardened resin is explosives, and that is something I don't think we can even build yet. And it's not exactly precise, so if there was resin somewhere creeping up in your base without completely obliterating your whole base. Okay, so that process is evened itself out. I've got power going down, I've got the resources coming up, and you can see now that they're all caught up. So we want to increase the speed at which those are mining. And for that, we want to try the basic motor drill. This motor it doesn't increase the efficiency, but it just does increase the speed. So now it's getting twice as much ore per minute. So now it's getting 16 ore per minute. It's using a little bit more power, and it's able to pull more ore down the line to keep our smelter running constantly. Aside from that, I also want to add another set of hoppers eventually, so I can drop in some iron and have it smelt alongside the copper and the tin. Getting some tin and copper now. This is great. What do we want to do now? Let's start a laboratory. Not sure which. There's the components. So I'm going to need basic PCB and basic experimental pods, which is plates and PCBs. One pod is 8 ingots. And I'm going to need 3 of these. So I'm going to need 15 pods and 3 basic PCBs. So let's get I think it was this one here. So let's get some more stamper plants, first of all. I like having 3 of these. We already have an extrusion plant, but we need a coiler plant, and we need a PCB assembling plant. So it's a kind of intense process, and let's see if we have enough for a couple of hoppers. So let's get these set up. I kind of want to set them up. Let's set them up right here. So these are the stamper plants. Just like that. I want to set this to, oh no, I want to set it to remove only. These can all go into a hopper, like so. And this will create plates, 3 at a time, really fast. And let's see if any other ingots I have available. So the extrusion plant we have, and we need copper wire. So we actually need some copper wire. Let's see, where was the extrusion plant? There it is. So the extrusion plant, this process is a similar process, but it's a 3-step to get to the PCB. And now that I look at this, I want to rotate all this stuff over. So I want the stampers like this instead. I'm going to need just a quick amount of, I need some copper wire. So let's just put in 20. Let that work. Let's see, what else do we need? Coiler plant, we have the copper plate for that, but we're going to need another 5 copper plate for this one. And then the research assembler, is that a recipe that we have to unlock? No, it isn't. Okay, where would that have been hiding? Power, no. Mining, no. Copper housing, no. Scanner. There it is. Research assembler. Also takes some copper housing, but I can craft copper housing right here. So that's not a big issue. Is that copper plates? It is. So I'm going to need quite a few copper plates. Glad I'm automatically smelting now. Let's look at our ores. I've got a lot of ores on me. That is full. So that tells me that these two are able to keep up. So let's see if some of those are done. So let's look at the coiler plant.
Crafting.
So let's put the coiler plant on there after this is done. And let's put the coiler plant, usually puts new things like that. And the coiler plant will turn the wire directly into coils. So that'll give us a couple coils that we can then use for the PCB assembling plant as soon as we got all of the requirements. So these are, a temporary place for those. Can I have a couple storage hoppers?
Crafting.
Can't have too many of those. How many more do you have left? One. And now it is available. So let's put the hopper back in here, set to remove only. And now we got another little bit of copper coils. This should be empty, this should be empty, and this should be empty. There we go. So I need some more copper plates. Let's do 20 of them for now. All right, the next thing on the list, need just a couple more copper plates, and it gives us the PCB assembly.
Crafting.
So the PCB is a pretty straightforward process, actually. Let me get rid of that. I want all that stuff on a dedicated line. So the PCB, extrusion, and coiler. So the order that these go in is extrusion. I want to make sure I have enough space here. So if this is a hopper, this can be this, this, and this. Okay. So the extrusion, the coiler, and the PCB assembly. Okay, so that's the order to make the PCBs, and then we can put a hopper on the end to collect them. And I want to set this to add only. I want one more hopper. These are getting a little expensive, and this will be removable. So there we have plate production, and we have PCB production. The part that's missing is the research assembler, and that is a little trickier because that requires PCB, and so let's make one copper housing since I made enough of those, and we need one PCB. Unfortunately, in order to just make one PCB, it throws it off a little bit. So one of the little tricks you can do is you can shift click, put one there, and then when you go to your copper, it asks to store just one. And it seems that it looks from the bottom to the top in order to find the resources to put in. So I can just put one copper bar in there, and that will produce just one PCB. So the wire gets extruded, then it gets coiled, and then it gets printed into a circuit board. And there we go. PCB. So give us our research assembler.
Crafting.
Now this thing is a power hog. Loves power. It just consumes it like crazy when you're researching. So this will end it for this episode. I've got my basic setup for assembly and research pods ready to go. Next episode we will tackle some research and get progression going quite a ways. So thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.